Well, welcome everyone. Welcome in for a special edition for we're having a COVID-19 coronavirus update here at LCTV. And in just a moment, the mayor of the city of Lockport will be joining me here in studio and to answer questions and also to open it up to the public as well. One of the things I hope everybody out there, first of all, at the top, I want to make sure everybody out there is doing well. We hope they're doing well and doing their best to stay up with all the changes of the federal, state, and local directives that are out there for everybody. I understand these are trying times around Western New York, and one of the things that we here at LCTV, lctv.net, and WLNF 90.9 on your FM dial, we love to bring to you, our listeners and our viewers, to keep you up to date and with how the people of this great community are trying in many ways to help you get through these trying times of this global pandemic. In the next hour, we'll be here with the mayor of Lockport. You feel free to call in here at 434-1733 with any of your questions that you have regarding the city of Lockport, and she'll answer your phone. We also are going to be joined via telephone with Niagara County Legislative Chairwoman Becky Witt. She's going to join us to take a couple questions sometime during the hour, and also something very important to the people here in Western New York. You know, you're looking for things to do, and the library system is. I think we're going to have a couple calls in from the library system here, Niagara in particular, maybe, and to answer some questions that you might have. I have some prepared questions for them to. Maybe they can guide us through something to do to take away from some of your day and make your day a little easier. You know, I know that their buildings are closed, but I know their services are still open. So I want to thank both of them ahead of time if I don't get a chance to do that before. We're going to stay here for right up from 7 to the 8 o'clock hour to take your questions on here. We implore you to call in here at 434-1733. And we will stay on here long enough if the questions keep coming in. We'll stay here long enough for you as long as we need to. Mayor Roman, I know personally, whether she says it or not, is trying to go the extra step here, suggested this special edition here after we just had her Ask the Mayor show on 2 short weeks ago, to an extra step to open government. She really, I know her, and she's, part of her campaign was to open up, the government and to the people, and she'll be able to tell you that in a moment. But one of the things that she wants to do here today, like the Lockport Common Council meetings, are still going on, and LCTV cameras are there to bring you that. The work session, long one last night especially, but we brought you the whole thing. We brought you the council meeting as well. I know the meetings and agenda minutes are on the website. But one of the things that really bothers this mayor is that the open public comment portion of the Common Council meeting isn't available right now with the social distancing measures that are being taken place. So, in an effort to help alleviate that and answer your questions, that's why we are here today. And we again really would request your questions here at 434-1733. With all that said, I want to introduce to you the mayor of the city of Lockport, Michelle Roman.
Thanks, Jim. I really do appreciate LCTV and their cooperation and their collaboration so that we can get all this out. I understand that you guys are also a part of our community and following the social distancing, and that you guys come in and make sure that our public knows what's happening. I'm just going to read a a statement for everybody out there. I want to take a moment to thank everyone for their continued dedication to our community during these trying times. I appreciate everyone's cooperation in following the guidelines established by the CDC, the city, the county, and the governor, while we try to reduce the impact of COVID-19 in our community. We are working closely with local and state agencies to maximize our response and keep our residents safe. Despite this pause, we are working hard to keep our community moving forward and keep our residents safe while aiming to maximize the safety of all of our residents. Our police and fire departments are working at full staff and are available 24 hours a day. Should you have a need, call our non-emergency line if you have questions or concerns at 716-433-7700. And of course, if you have an emergency, always dial 911. Our water filtration and wastewater treatment plants are staffed and functioning to continue to provide fresh, clean water. Although there is a toilet paper shortage out there, we would greatly appreciate it if the wipes and other items are not flushed into the toilets. Even those boxes that say flushable wipes, there's no such thing. And they cause a real problem for our sewers, and they back up into your neighbor's house. We have to spend overtime, we have to spend money fixing equipment. So if you could avoid doing that, that would be greatly appreciated. Our highways and parks and water distribution departments have been split into 2 shifts to help us follow social distancing guidelines and allow for sanitizing of equipment in between the shifts. These essential workers are continuing to work on our trees, storm drains, and sewers, as well as our streets. We want people to get fresh air and encourage biking, walking, jogging throughout the city and in our parks, but please continue to follow the social distancing rules and do not use any of the equipment that is out in the parks. We took down the basketball rims to discourage group gatherings and people playing basketball. We are asking that you not touch the playground equipment and just enjoy the outdoors without touching those things. Our buildings and grounds team are doing a great job disinfecting City Hall, and it allows us to continue to provide services in all of our departments. However, we are conducting business remotely as City Hall is closed to the public. If you want to pay a bill, tickets, apply for a job, turn in a civil service exam application, or submit other documents, please send them in the mail or drop them in the night drop box on the side of City Hall by the Main Street parking lot. We will get back to you by phone, by email. If you want to get an extra garbage tag, you can send that to us and we will mail you the tags. Building inspection is very limited now with the new executive order by the governor in recent days. You can only get permits if it's going to be a solo job, if contractors are working on it independently with no other people, or a homeowner is doing something by themselves, we can allow that. We can no longer allow non-essential construction to happen, and essential construction are water and sewer infrastructure projects. And all other non-essential construction is now on pause. My office hours for the mayor is not interrupted. We just can't see each other personally. You can call me, you can email me at any time, and I will get back to you. And my office phone number is 716-439-6664. And you can contact us at any time on the city website at lockportny.gov, or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We will continue to hold common council meetings, but they will continue to be closed to the public and streamed live here on LCTV channel 1303. And the last 2, we have also Facebook streamed live on Roman for Lockport Facebook page. And they're also streamed live through LCTV on the city website. And the committee of the whole meetings will be aired at 5 o'clock every Wednesday. They will be done from now on with remote access. We're going to talk about it here after this show, exactly how that will look, if I will be at City Hall or if I will be here, so that people can hear the phone. I don't think City Hall will allow people to hear the discussion clearly, so we might do it here. And let's see, I forgot where I'm at. And the council meetings will continue to be the first and third Wednesdays. Also, I believe they will also be remote once we get everything situated. My corporation council, our new corporation council that will be starting, Laura Miskell, read all of the executive orders and got those rules down that we can follow now for waiving some of the open public meeting laws to allow us to do remote access meetings. And lastly, our local businesses need our support more than ever. Please do your best to support our community businesses while continuing to follow the social distance guidelines. they have, over the years, always given donations of gift certificates, baskets. Whenever a fundraiser came up, you would go to your local businesses, and many of them would donate and offer their services or offer their time or offer their product and to help us raise money for different events and different causes inside our community. And now it's time for us to give back to them. And this is just another example of adversity that we as residents of Lockport face, but we are a strong and resilient community. We will rise to the challenges that we face as a community and overcome them together. I wish you to stay safe, stay healthy, and be kind to one another.
Very well said, Mayor. Thank you very much for that. It's nice to get that out. One of the things you mentioned is that the meetings are still open with LCTV, but our on-demand feature is always there. So if they can't make it, and they can't make it at the time and watch it live, Rich has been doing 14 duties here, but he will get that on demand as soon as he can, and it will be on demand for you to do that. And I hear you talk about trying to work out the logistics of that, or maybe. So just to clarify, probably for me and maybe for some of the viewers, maybe you're going to hold some of the work sessions through teleconference, and you have the conference going right here that we can hear everybody.
I'm thinking that might
there.
be the best way, so that because we still have to have it videoed. And transcripts provided, so people can hear the entire conversation.
Right.
And I'm thinking that me holding my cell phone up to a microphone at City Hall might not be the best way to do that.
Sure.
We did purchase GoToMeeting at the city level, so that we could do teleconferencing, video conferencing, and those kinds of things. So maybe we could do the video conferencing and they could see all the little boxes of everybody.
That'd be great.
So
like this Zoom, same thing, right?
Yeah,
that'd be great. I'm sure we probably can figure that out.
So
we got a little time to practice because you just had the meeting last night.
Yeah. So we got a few more days to get that going.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to see that. And I just want to let you know, though, here at LCTV, our studios are closed, but we do open them up for important information to get out to the public regarding, this horrendous virus that is overtaking the world, really, so to speak. And we're here also to keep you up to date with any ongoing updates that we can have. As a matter of fact, the next time our studio will be open will be tomorrow at 4 p.m. You can go, if you're watching this, that's Friday, April 3rd, at 4 o'clock. We're going to have the CEO of Eastern Niagara Hospital, Ann McCaffrey, will be on here to answer your questions and to let you know what the Erie Eastern Niagara Hospital role is, and how they're prepared, what they're doing, and really get a hold on the first responders in case, God forbid, anybody would come down with this COVID-19 virus. And Michelle, one of the things we're going to talk about too is the numbers. I mean, we hear numbers, and you said at your council meeting last night, don't pay attention to the numbers because just pretend like everybody out there has it. It's a great social distancing theory to do, and the numbers are coming in are very limited at this part of the state. So you can't really compare our numbers to the numbers you see, say, down in New York City or the national numbers, or a couple of different states that have been through this already. Actually, I believe Mark Poloncarz from Erie County even said yesterday, I was watching him and his update, and he said that he believes that Erie County is probably maybe 2 to 3 weeks behind New York's curve. So if their apex is going to be in 7 to 21 days, well, what are we? We're going to be another 3 weeks away from the apex. So we'll get all those answered again. But I want to thank you for coming on and doing that. I just want to remind you again too, if you have any questions, whether it's related to the city or to this virus that maybe we can get the answers to you for you, is again 716-434-1733. Tuesday, March 17th. Seems like a long time ago, but it's really only a couple short weeks ago you declared a state of emergency in the city of Lockport. I don't know about you, but do you follow the numbers and look at how important the social distancing measures are? Because what, March 1st, there was 15 cases in the country or whatever, and now, we just hit 1 million in the world. It's amazing.
Yeah. Like you were saying, the confirmed cases just means that they were able to be tested. It does not mean that that's all the cases that we have in our area. And part of that is that we have very limited testing, so they have a very small window of people that they will test. So you have to be a very specific first responder, healthcare worker, or hospitalized is pretty much who they will
test. And that means the numbers aren't really.
But I think an important fact for us is babies of 1 and 7 months old have been confirmed in our area. And I just want to make sure that people understand that, because they have spent a lot of time saying that 80% of people are 65 and above, and most 20 to 30-year-olds will be fine. But I think that gave people a false sense of security. And anybody could get this at any time, at any age. And you never know how your body will react to it. Most people will be fine. But it's about the whole community, and it's about those who will not be fine.
And even with the people that are fine, I know I've read some things with some people locally that have it, and have gone through some, I should say, gone through hell, even though they know they will be fine at the end, but it's still a very debilitating virus. We do have a phone call coming in here, and one of the things before I get to the phone call, and I know that's what we're going to talk about, because we got, I think, Harry from Wheatfield, if you're watching at 1303, Harry, is about the elderly and the disabled and people with disabilities. It's very important to keep them in our thoughts every day, isn't it?
Yes, that's, our community is about everybody that's in our community, and that includes our most vulnerable. And it's not about me personally. It's not about, you personally. It's about how we impact those around us.
Absolutely. Let's get to the phones right now. Harry from Wheatfield, are you there?
Good evening, Jim.
Hi, Harry. How are you? Thanks for the call.
Well, I got a couple questions about this coronavirus.
Okay.
First of all, when is this thing going to end?
Mayor, that seems to be the million-dollar question right now.
Right now, we don't know. All we're trying to do is mitigate the spread of it and to slow it down and try to not have it impact as many people as it possibly can.
Also, I think you guys had this on with Becky Witt earlier about this map. Can they get the zip codes, or even like Pendleton, Wheatfield, Lockport, so we know how many people are involved? We got 91 people that are involved right now.
Yeah, Harry, I don't know. It's an interactive map, and I don't know if you have access to a computer or not, but we have Rich is going to bring the map up right now, but if you see the map...
No, what I'm saying about the map,
right.
There's no counties.
Yes.
It's the whole
well,
that's
Dyer County, but if you put your mouse and your pointer over a selected area there where it says, you see where the 9 is in the middle there? If you put your mouse arrow over there, it'll tell you that is the city of Lockport, and they have 9 confirmed cases.
How many cases does Wheatfield have?
Wheatfield right now has, on that map, has 19.
19, wow.
19.
Because I know it's going to hurt the churches, not having church at all on Easter. That's the main point.
It's a great idea. The church services, they're having online services, so to speak. We just heard about what what horrible happened in Florida a couple days ago or whatever. But you're right, and we hope that for the churches out there, that people keep them in mind for their places of worship. They still have maybe envelopes to collect. That if you
That's
could.
Right. That's another issue. We have to send them now. I mean, send a check instead of the money.
Absolutely, Harry. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for clearing that up.
Okay, thanks for the
Thank
call.
you, Mayor.
Yep, have a good day. On the church thing for Easter Sunday, one of our local churches is going to do an Easter parade
Oh,
and
okay.
go around some neighborhoods with some of their members and have the Easter bunny wave to the kids, and so that'll be nice.
Have you seen the parades, like from the teachers around and some of the? I had
We
some
did one in
commotion.
Holly too.
Did you do one in Holly?
And I know the Anna Merritt teachers did one and for all their students.
And I think we ought to be in line and for a kind of a big parade when all this is over, like Harry said, when it does curve. You know, and one of the things, Mayor, and I want to ask your opinion on this, of taking a look at the curves and analyzing data. And I did it, probably way too long for anybody to do it yesterday, And, I was really researching a lot of the numbers, but you're looking at it, and it might be a curve that comes down quickly. It might be a curve that just kind of takes a little while to flatten out. I mean, I think, everybody's aware of the economic issues in the economy, especially, in the city of Lockport. I mean, unemployment, I'm sure, is skyrocketed, although there is relief for them. But one of the things that you're going to see is that there's still going to be some kind of social distancing measures, even on the downslope after the apex of this disease.
I think that how we conduct business and how we interact will forever be changed.
Strong statement, yeah.
I don't think that we will always be conscious of, we will think about the next time that we interact with somebody, because there's always something. There's always a flu, there's always a virus, there's always a cold, or, and we've never thought too much about that. I mean, we do when we're in it, when we have the cold.
Right.
We try to say, but we go to work when we're sick because we have to. And I think this changes that mentality a little bit.
I have a phone call, but before I do, just a little briefly, maybe how City Hall, I mean, one of the things you say, a lot of things are going to change forever. There's businesses, municipalities, everybody's finding out that there is a way to keep business going, without being there. I mean, and doing your business at home. That might free up some time and some efforts for everybody, even with City Hall. Would you say?
I think that we're functioning with this, but
Okay.
it's mostly because we're
It's difficult.
essentially shut down other than doing essential services. I don't know if there are some things that we can do remotely, but we will always need to be able to, we're a social animal.
Okay. Right.
And we need social connections. And so we don't want to move away from that either out of fear.
We do. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I do have some numbers. If you stay tuned for this whole hour, I do have numbers for you that would help you with some of that. We also, the mayor and I are going to list the local Lockport restaurants that are open for takeout and with delivery, and we'll go over that list when we get a chance during the hour. Joining us right now on a call is, let me go to the phones right here, I believe is Legislative Chairwoman Becky Witt. Becky, are you there?
I am. Hello, how are you?
Hello, very good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Mayor, thank you for hosting this show. It's a wonderful idea.
Thanks, Becky. Thanks for doing yours every day.
Absolutely.
Yes, the daily updates are very much appreciated by everybody in the community. Thank you very much for coming in and doing that, Becky. A few questions I have for you. We talked about how is it? I mean, first of all, wow, you're named legislative chairwoman, a great responsibility. Then all of a sudden, this pandemic hits, and you're thrust right into the middle of it.
Yeah, I certainly was not expecting this in January when I first became chair. I thought I would have a little bit of time to learn my new role and ease into things, and that wasn't the case at all. But all I can say is we have an amazing team at Niagara County. We really do. My colleagues, the other legislators, our department heads, our director of public health, just everyone really has jumped in and is handling things so well as a team. I can't say enough for the work that they're all doing right now.
Yeah, well, thank you very much again. And I don't know if you heard our first phone call. They were talking about the interactive map that was created for Niagara County, and it's really it's been eye-opening, especially over the last couple days of the numbers increasing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can give you those numbers, but I agree you guys are right on when you tell people you have to assume this is everywhere. The numbers are not a true indication of how many positive cases we have. These are just the known ones that have tested positive and come back. You know, testing has been a huge frustration for us, as it is in many, many counties. We just don't have as many tests as we would like to have. Some of them are being done through private doctors and hospitals, but like the mayor said, really being saved for those most essential and critical of cases. So I will give you the numbers, again, just keeping in mind that this is, you know, just the numbers as we see them. We had 26 new cases today, which gave us a total of 91 positive cases in the county.
Okay.
There are 63 people isolating at home, another 14 isolating in the hospital. The good news is we also have 14 individuals who are recovered and home and doing well. So that's good news. That heat map that we get updated every weekday is a great place to look again for those hot spots in the county. Obviously, our most densely populated areas are cities. The numbers are higher as we would expect. You're not seeing as much along the lake shores. But again, I don't want to give anyone a false sense of security there. It is in your community, and you are at risk, and it's not just about you. As you know, you guys have said, this is also about bringing it home to others. You don't want to bring it home to your vulnerable parents or children, even if you think that you can make it through safely. So everybody just needs to keep that in mind and do their best to stay home and really take that responsibility on individually.
Well said, Becky. A couple questions on maybe the testing. Will the health department maybe require in the near future maybe the doctors that are testing to report the results to the county?
Well, we do get those results. Anytime a test is done and it comes back from the state, we know that there's been positive tests. Okay. So in fact, most of these tests, when we give the numbers for the positives, are not tests that the county health department has done. These are results that are coming back from those individual doctors and hospitals. So they were not folks that were on our radar. We didn't know these people had symptoms. We're just getting those positive test results back from the State Department of Health as they're required to notify ours.
They don't. You only find out though when they test positive. Some people would like to know how many have tested and total, and how many are positive and how many are not.
Right, that's correct. So we can't tell you how many tests are being done because, again, we don't know exactly how many tests are being done through the hospitals and doctors. We don't receive negative results. We only receive the positive results. So there's really no way for us to know that total being done.
You know, one of the things Dan Stapleton has been on and been talking about is, you know, some of the numbers, and you're going through the numbers, and I've went through some of the numbers, and obviously the numbers of recovered are going to be increased significant as this pandemic goes on, and especially here locally because we're really in the infancy stages. And when we get to the maybe more toward the apex or the downward turn, those numbers should increase immensely, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I think, you know, we're seeing, as you said before, about 80%, you know.
Right.
People won't even realize they've had these, you know, they won't have any symptoms. They won't even know that they've had it. They're recovering. They're doing well. These numbers are shocking to us right now because it's new to us. This first week or two, you know, as we got back our first case, and then we got 5 more, and now all of a sudden 26 is a big number. But, you know, as we see that peak, as we see that steady increase, these numbers will be less shocking to people. And, you know, they're not unexpected, really. You know, Dan Stapleton said today he wasn't surprised in these numbers at all because this is what he's been expecting to see.
You know, and a couple of the things there, you know, you see like New York City and the United States and a couple of states working on curves, so to speak. And I know without the numbers, they're testing many more people than Niagara County are. But when those numbers come up, do you see you study maybe local curves of their own to kind of tell, you know, the residents maybe when we're on the downward slope after the apex?
Yeah, you know, the governor says himself he bases things on models, and there's many different models to look at and projections of how these numbers will peak and spread out. We do know that we're probably a few weeks behind what the city's seeing, and of course those numbers are overwhelming to us. We can't, you can't look at those numbers and expect to see those types of numbers here. We simply don't have the population or the density that they have. But we'll see the percentages increase the way theirs are. And unfortunately, Harry and Wheatfield asked, when's this going to end? We just can't say that. We have to, factor in so many different things that can sway those totals. The social distancing, are people doing their part in keeping away and keeping this at bay? So I would love to be able to give those projections, and it's just next to impossible, unfortunately.
Correct. One of the things, the hospitals that are in Niagara County, are they coming to you maybe with any questions regarding PPE or maybe for help and maybe finding enough?
So they're working very closely, of course, with our Department of Health Director, Dan Stapleton, and our Director of Emergency Services, Jonathan Schultz. It's my understanding that they have morning calls every day to update each other, talk about those things, help each other where they can. So absolutely sharing information, keeping track of what's happening as far as, pre-planning for surges and peaks. So they are very much working as a team, our folks with the hospital folks, to stay on top of that and help each other everywhere they can. That's going to be a very, very important relationship as we get further into this.
Those gentlemen also meet or teleconference almost daily with the county sheriff, the chiefs of every city, and of both the fire and the police.
Okay.
They're always in constant communication.
I would say as this goes along, Becky, the line of communications are improving and they're getting better probably, right?
Absolutely. We figured out very quickly that conference calls were going to be the way to handle things. I'm sure the mayor can tell you that the first couple of days she was probably overwhelmed with individual calls and emails and text messages. It was just constant in the beginning. And we've really gotten some great groups together for conference calls daily to update each other. We have I host one that's all of the town and city officials, all the legislators are on. We have our state representatives. It's a time for us to all connect, share information, ask questions. Really, the partnership with LCTV has been wonderful. We can't thank you enough for having those daily shows. That has really helped the residents to get the information out to them in a place they can find it. And we're watching the other news stations pick that up as well, which is very helpful.
Well, I want to thank you very much for doing that every day at 2 o'clock here on LCTV. We continue to watch for the updates from Niagara County. I know we've kept you in a long time. I know we've had some long days. Two important things I want to say before we leave. One that you mentioned today, and it might be worth re-mentioning, is the blood drive. There's a very need for blood drive. You said yourself that your husband had gone out and gave blood the other day, and also maybe you can mention again the crisis hotline. I have the numbers here that I can read off.
Absolutely. So we've heard from Connect Life specifically reached out to me because I do host blood drives with them regularly throughout the year. But we're also hearing that Red Cross is having the same issue. There's a definite lack of blood right now because they've had so many blood drives. 56 blood drives have canceled. Through April 18th, they've lost over 1,800 units of blood as a result of the COVID pandemic and people not wanting to come out. So we really are asking folks, if you are healthy, if you are able to give blood, to call and make an appointment. These are all the drives on the screen that are happening in Niagara County. And we've heard about a few more from Red Cross as well. So really they are handling it wonderfully. When my husband went, he said they did a great job of keeping everyone safe. They're using all those, cleaning procedures and safety procedures to make sure that the staff and the donors are taken care of. So please, if you can do that, that's wonderful. And yes, the mental health crisis line for Niagara County, that's a 24/7 free and confidential line that you can call. This is a really difficult time for people.
It is.
Those of us who are working out day in, day out, you're dealing with a lot of pressure, having to handle that situation. Our first responders and healthcare workers who are right in the thick of this, and then worrying about bringing things home to their family. It's hard to be cooped up in your house and not have your normal routine. So this is an understandably stressful and anxious situation for just about everybody for some reason or another. So if you need help, Crisis Services is there for you. You can call 285-3515. And again, they're there 24/7 to help you.
Well, thank you very much, Becky. Thank you very much, and continue those updates. We appreciate them very much, and thank you for taking the time to call in here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There you have it. It was nice. One of the things, that I think failed to mention with those numbers or with those dates and numbers that Rich put up on the screen, you have to call and make an appointment. Obviously, everything almost today
Right.
is made by appointment. That's another stretch of life that we'll probably end up seeing changing maybe forever. Who knows? That is great. But when we had you on a couple weeks ago, and we were kind of doing some social distancing, I ended up having the police chief come on and visit with us, and Chief Abbott. And one of the things I was going to ask you after following up with him was that the police are ready, but the people should understand too to call in and make sure that the calls are something that's urgent, so to speak, and they're going to be taking some of the matters over the phone and maybe following up with follow phone calls as well, right?
Correct. So they can take some reports remotely without having any physical contact with people. Of course, like I said before, if it's a true emergency, they are available and will be there. They have quick response times in the city of Lockport, both our police and our fire, and that would continue. That is not being impacted at all.
Right. One of the things that concerns everybody, I mean, like you mentioned before, and Legislator Woodish said it earlier, this is a trying time for everybody. They worry about a lot of different things. One of the things that I know I've had some email or text or calls or whatever on is, the fire department, with what the Buffalo Fire Department is going through now with losing a number, even though they say they're still at full force, and they've kind of segregated it out to three stations. Are there plans in place that maybe if some of your firefighters get infected? I know that the police chief says that the mutual aid has been spread, and there's a plan in place with the sheriff's department, the state troopers, and other police
We
to
have
help
a
each other.
similar plan as well.
Okay.
We've reached out to the volunteer companies,
Okay.
and we're investigating the feasibility of stationing part of a shift in one of the volunteer fire halls. And currently they are following all of the cleaning protocols, sanitizing protocols in the firehouse. They are practicing social distancing. There are multiple different rooms, so they're not all congregated in one area. And they are cleaning after themselves and cleaning in between shifts, so that if we might lose one group, but we're not going to lose the whole. So we're very cognizant of that and working through that.
Well, good. It's good to know, and like you say, we don't know how this will hit, and so to speak. But I know there's actions in place and directives in place about the firemen, though, and
as of now, they all have personal protective equipment.
that's what I was going to ask you about, the personal protective equipment.
Right now, they have their personal protective equipment.
Okay.
They are prepared. They do have some additional ones that were provided from the county emergency management.
Okay.
And the county, as you know from the chief, provided masks for our policemen as well, that were fitted masks.
Right.
For each member of the police department. And I believe that they were provided a backup one as well. So I don't believe that will be enough as we get further into the situation, because there'll be the more people that are confirmed and the more people that are showing symptoms, and they still have to respond to these situations. They can't say, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're sick, so we can't help you." That's not how this works. So we will need more.
Okay.
Because as you use them, you have to replace them.
Replace them, right? Well, let's hope we can. I mean, as you hear about those stories, and let's hope it doesn't affect locally. We do have a phone call coming in for I believe you, the mayor. I believe Becky. Are you there, Becky? from Lockport.
Yes, I
Are you
am.
there? Hi, Becky. How are you? Thanks for calling in. You have a question?
Yes, I do. For the mayor.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
My question is, rather than wait for,
Where's what?
wait a minute.
That's okay. Take your time. Rather than wait.
Rather than wait
Okay.
Oh, okay.
for people to get, possible sick people
Okay.
of this disease, why don't they have a formed drive-up service like they do in other cities and have them tested?
That is a lack of test kits in our area. The county had discussed this. I know that they have several site locations that they have discussed doing it at. They have had a request in with the state for 1,500 test kits for at least the last several weeks that I'm aware of. It's just, we can't have a drive up without having tests.
Well, do you know if and when we're going to?
I have no idea when those tests will be distributed.
Because I think that could save a lot of people.
Becky,
It could be possible.
Yeah. Every day I'm on a conference call with the state, and every day this is a question that we have.
Becky, if
Okay.
if you tune into LCTV at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, I'll have the CEO of Eastern Niagara Hospital on, and I will definitely ask her that question. I think she's prepared to answer it. So
I know that they have tests at the hospital,
Right.
but they have to follow very specific protocols.
So maybe there is plans for a drive-through someplace. Okay. Do you have another question?
Because I'm just saying, I think it might save some lives and alleviate a lot of worry in other people, especially the elderly
Right.
that are vulnerable to this disease.
I agree with you, and that's why I'm telling people just assume that you and everyone around you has it, and just act like that. And I have not seen my mother, who I'm very close to, in over 3 weeks, and it's very hard. I know that she's being taken care of by my brother and another sister, but it's very hard to not see her. But she's 84, and I'm around a lot of people and around a lot of things, and I'm not having any symptoms. I get checked with my temperature every time I enter City Hall. We have everybody who enters City Hall, their temperature is checked and questions are asked and they're screened. So I'm not showing symptoms, but you can be asymptomatic and have it. And so Alderwoman Schratz made masks for us. And the masks that you make yourself are not to stop you from getting sick. It's to prevent you from spreading it to those around you. And it also is a good reminder to yourself not to touch your face. And
Oh, I know.
so those are the
Exactly.
only things that I agree with you, but we can only do what we have in our arsenal right now. And so that is to just do what we can to help our personal safety and the safety of those around us.
I don't go out anymore, and I have to. I'm also a high-risk patient.
I know that grocery
And,
stores are delivering, restaurants deliver. So I know that there's a lot, and Meals on Wheels is still delivering. And you can call the county's Office of the Aging, and they will provide you with some services. You can dial 211 instead of 911, which is for emergencies. 211 is for services that are available in our area, and they will link you up with whatever you say is an issue for you, and they will link you up with the the community service or the area to help you with that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Thank you very much, Becky.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a
right.
good day.
You too.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. It's calls like those that you miss at the common council meetings that come in and want to ask questions, and betterment for the city. Right there. No doubt about it. She brings up a good point. One of the things maybe, I think we're having a library system call in sooner or later, but I don't want to leave it to last. Maybe you and I should go over a list right here real quick and I want to thank Lockport Main Street Inc., Jessica Ditley over there, and putting this together. It's on their website. It's available. I think it's been all over Facebook. I don't know. I think you probably shared it as well. But you and I just take a couple of minutes here. We'll go down a couple. These are open for takeout. I'm not going to denote delivery, but they're open for takeout. You can go to the Main Street Lockport Main Street website. Or you can go either to just Google any one of these restaurants that we mentioned here locally that we have right now, and we want to mention to them because they're very important, as the mayor stated in her opening statement, that to really, pay attention. They're here, they're part of the community, they need your support now. So, I got Ashley's Culinary Creations, Attitudes Bar and Grill, Equates Mexican, Bonjour Crepes, Camaradas, Carson's Deli, Chevettas, Cousins Cafe, Danny Sheehan's Steakhouse, Davison Road Inn, Dee's Sugar Shack, Fieldstone, Frankie's Pizza, Hilltop, Calamatas, The Kitchen, A Kith and Kin, Laporte's,
Steamworks, Stooges, Subdelicious, Sonny's, Tater Cakes, Tom's Diner, Village Eatery, Wagner's,
Wake Effect Ice Cream, Lock 34, Lockkeeper Coffee House, Mark's Pizzeria, Montundo's, New York Beer Project, One-Eyed Jack's, Papa Leo's, The Penalty Box, Pizza Oven, Pot of Gold, Pulp 716 Comics, Reed's, Scripps Cafe, Seamus, Ski Lodge, and Steak, Stone, and Sushi for just some. And if you didn't hear that, you're not on the website, you might want to actually send them an email and get added to that list. But I know, and most of them all of them are available for takeout, and
most of them are doing free delivery.
Most of them are doing free delivery, is right. So support them.
Yeah.
I know I have, but I mean, if you can afford to do it,
My sons were joking. They go, "Mom, you can't single-handedly save every small business," because I've been going to different ones, almost every day, and I'm fortunate in that I'm teaching remotely, and I am the mayor, and I have not lost either job, and I feel that that's my way of giving back to the community.
Absolutely.
Small things.
Small things. Everybody, we're going to find so many answers.
Donating the different food pantries have to give out individual takeouts and leave them for people, so they need donations of individual snack things.
Sure.
They need apples, things, and oranges that can be given individually. Chips, not that they're necessarily, but individually wrapped packages would be best to donate to food pantries in our areas. Peanut butter, things like that. The food pantries can no longer serve food like they have in the past at our Salvation Army kitchen. Is it still Sister Loretta's kitchen? Do they still do that?
Yep. They have the bag takeout.
Yes, and they do that from outside. Mm-hmm. You can no longer go inside and serve it family style, buffet style. We can't do that anymore.
Right. Yeah, a lot of places have changed their operations. One of the things, I was going to mention too, one of the things, we have a phone call coming in, and you know, I'm going to preface it in a moment. One of the things, though, you know, researching, this is a whole other service on its own, the school districts, how you know, and you know yourself how important it is the meals that they've been providing, the you know, Google Classroom, the instructions that they're giving out, and everything.
local dance studios
Right.
and karate studios, boxing and gyms are doing it on Zoom, so you can
They are.
still participate
I know.
and do those activities.
Get your Pilates going and get on there, get your kettlebell out and do them online.
Yep.
Absolutely. And also, you know, I'd like to commend too the YWCA stepping up. I know that they're over here in Lockport, one of the schools that are providing necessary childcare for the first
arena.
responders.
Shelley. I always,
Unisic?
yes, I always pronounce
I know
her name
Shelley.
wrong.
I do too, but I
She's
I
been
get
really
better. Right,
fabulous,
Shelley?
and since this whole thing started, she has been really trying to think outside the box, and she has that big, beautiful building, and wanted to make sure that it could still be used. And they are also providing childcare to first responders, the hospital staff, and
Essential workers,
and
right?
essential workers. And
Big time. It's a big
and she
thing.
was working really hard trying to make it so that it didn't cost a lot of money, and you know, and so it was affordable. But that's for school-age children.
Gotcha. We're going to talk more about that. That's for sure. But we go to the phones, and yourself. I'm going to introduce to you the director of the Buffalo and Erie County Public Libraries. I'm going to get with her in a moment. But you know how important it is being a teacher, and how important it is to keep up to date with things. This is going to be a way to use the library system is so important in these times of people not being able to physically
They're
study.
important at all aspects of our life,
Yep.
and they are free services that everybody can participate in.
Okay, well, joining us now, I believe we have on the line Mary Jean Jakubowski. Is that right, Mary Jean?
Jakubowski, close enough.
Jakubowski. Okay, yeah. Thank you very much, Mary Jean, for joining in here. And I don't know if you were able to hear that preface or whatever, but we do. Our libraries, even though the buildings are closed, they are still providing necessary services to our community.
That is absolutely the case. The libraries, the buildings may be closed, but our libraries are open virtually with an absolute enormous amount of resources for people. Downloadable books, downloadable music, online classes, online story time, all kinds of great stuff.
Absolutely. One of the things too, I mean, and even if it's just, I know that a lot of the libraries have story hour, story time on for the younger kids, just to, you know, because, you know, they're thrust, I mean, we worry about, obviously, everybody worries about themselves and the elderly and maybe the disabled with disabilities, but the regular, you know, school's been disrupted. So even with the kids at home, to be able to get a story time or a story half hour, so to speak, during the course of a day is a tremendous thing.
Absolutely, and I would absolutely encourage people to check out the websites of their libraries. Our library system is at www.buffalolib.org. People can get on, they can get a library card if they're a resident of Erie County or they work or own property or go to school in Erie County, as a matter of fact. Absolutely for free. You can do that online as well. But those online story times, and we have online cooking programs and online teen book clubs and all kinds of great things going on, whether it be through the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library or any of the libraries in the Neoga Library System, which I know is right where you are in Lockport there. So people should really check out those websites. Theirs is nioga.org, NIOGA.org. Ours is www.buffalolib.org. And, you know, believe me when I tell you, our staff is working. They are working from home to make sure that we can meet the needs, the library needs of people, even though our buildings are still closed.
Absolutely. I just saw a story being read from the Lockport Library online today. It was amazing. And Mary Jean, we want to thank you. We have your number up there too, so people can call. All kind of resources. And one question I have, a couple quick questions, is one of the things is the reference librarians are there, right? So if somebody needs to look something up and possibly, aren't familiar with Google or whatever, they can utilize the library system as well, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And with Buffalo and Erie County Public Library, right from our website, just go to Contact Us, click on that link, and you can email your questions to us. We're going to help you out. There's also Ask Us 24/7, which is a program that the Niagara Library System is also involved with. Absolutely, ask us a question. We're going to get you the answer. We're going to get you connected to somebody who can get you the information that you're looking for.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I know we're going to be talking to Niagara a little bit later on, but thank you, Mary Jean, for calling in. One last question I have for you, though, if you're in Erie County, and I know we're going to Erie County as well, if you're in Erie County and you don't have a library card and you want a service, is it possible to get a library card without physically going into the library?
It is absolutely, and we are encouraging people to do that. They can go to our website, and I know I've given you that before, but
Sure.
let me give it to you again.
Okay.
www.buffalolib.org. Click on Get a Library Card. There's a form that you fill out, and within just a few hours, you're going to have that library card number sent to you, and then that allows you to get those downloadable books, that downloadable music, downloadable audio, all those great resources, access to our online databases. But there's many things you can do through these websites without a library card as well, but we'd love to have you be a patron of our library and have a library card.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mary Jean, for calling in, and we look forward to talking to you in the future.
Well, thank you so very much, and we hope to see everybody online at the library.
There you go. Okay, stay safe. We're going to go to line 2. We have a phone call coming in, and I believe, let me go to line 2. I think I got there. Hello?
Yeah. Yeah, hi.
Hi, is this Rachel?
Yeah.
From Tampa, Florida?
Yeah.
You have a question. What's the question? You have a question for the mayor?
I do. How
Okay.
are you?
Good. How are you?
Hello.
Hi, Dad.
Hi,
I
Rachel.
just wanted to say that you are doing such a great job providing all this information over to all the residents throughout Erie County as well as Niagara County. And that when people are out there and supporting the local businesses, to make sure that you share that maybe on social media.
We do.
And tag that, because it helps other people see kind of what's going on, and then it helps spread that marketing in the business for them. And then another, don't forget to tip. Even though it is free delivery and things are happening, they are keeping people employed.
Right.
And you're trying to help out on all aspects.
Agreed.
Agreed. Absolutely. Thank you very much. And I know, like you say, the business still goes on. So thank you very much, Rachel. And, that's one of the things you talked about, Mayor, is that, it hurts you not to see your mom. And, that the social distancing measures are, and you got a job that takes you there. But down in Tampa, Florida, I got my dad too, 94 years old. I'm lucky enough to have a sister and brother-in-law taking care of him and watching over him, and we're keeping
Your whole
an eye on
family's
Rachel.
down there.
So I guess mostly they are. That's why I think I was gone for a while. Well, thank you very much.
It's nice to
All
meet
right,
you.
Keep up the good work. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. I didn't know she was still out there. I thought I hung up on her, but I guess I didn't. One of the things we have also, we have a phone call coming in from Niagara, and before we get to the phone call, Mayor, one of the things, what Mary Jean talked about, it is so resourceful, and even though the students have Google's Classroom, they still need referencing from the library.
Yeah. Sometimes you're trying to find something and you're just not quite putting it in the search bar right. My kids always laugh at me how I Google search. they can just help you find that a specific thing for you.
One thing that I think maybe we've all learned, and correct me if I'm wrong about you for the city, though. I mean, you're operating the city. Businesses are still working. They're still out there doing business. Maybe it's changed a little bit, but like Rachel says, we talk about getting out and supporting the restaurants, but there's other venues. I mean, Harry mentioned the churches and so forth. There's other businesses that are able to do business online. And and maybe even hiring or whatever, it's all being done.
The Busy Bee bookstore, the clothing stores. I believe that they are allowing for online ordering, and they can do doorstop delivery, or you can come pick up. So yes, there are other businesses that are trying to maintain themselves. I really do worry about our small businesses. Our small businesses and our tourism are what make Lockport what it is.
It is.
And so we just want to be able to help them so that we can continue moving forward with them.
And what's going to be very important, Mayor, moving forward is that, I know, like you say, being in the tourism business or whatever, you probably don't want to have to jump right into this real quick. I'm sure it's going to be a planned out process to get in there, right? Well, let's go to the phone calls here. Excuse me, hold on here. I was messing up on the phones. I'm sorry. Tom, are you there?
Yeah.
Hi, Tom. Tom Binderman here, Executive Director of Niagara Library System. How are you, Tom?
Pretty good. How about you?
Very good. Thanks for calling in.
Oh, no problem. I just wanted to second. I was cut off with Mary Jean. She's the director of Buffalo County. That we have the same type of materials for the 11 libraries in Niagara County, and we try to aim from youngsters to all the way up to seniors electronic resources. And we've seen a dramatic increase since this thing started about a week or two ago. So people are using our resources and all that, which is good. And but I just want to let everybody know that even though their libraries might be closed, there is a presence electronically. And if you want to go to www.niagara.org, they'll take you to the public access catalog, and you'll see hopefully all our electronic resources and all that. And I want to remind everybody, don't forget the census 2020, and because a lot of stuff that depends on getting an accurate number. And if you go to the lower right on our webpage, it'll say Census 2020. They'll take you right to the form to fill out.
Awesome. Yeah, we need that. You definitely need that, Mayor.
You need it now more than ever.
Now more than ever, probably, because you don't know the state of the economy afterwards.
It's estimated over $660 billion are rests with accurate numbers for aid, highway aid, Medicare, the whole deal. So we want to make sure we have an accurate count for Niagara County.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Tom, one of the things, too, before I let you go, though, I mean, the library system, the 11 libraries in Niagara County are also offering, they have download programs, e-books. I guess you have something they call, Tumblr for kids or whatever?
Oh, yeah. We have Tumble books for kids.
Okay.
Story hours, the whole thing. And the big thing now is downloadable movies.
Yeah.
Hoopla.
Okay.
I mean, we've had a record week this week, but I guess everybody's staying home and watching movies. So,
I guess you're absolutely right. I can raise my hand. I don't know about you. Well, Mayor, you probably got a little bit busier schedule. But, Tom, one of the questions I asked Mary Jean, too, is, and I'll ask you if somebody out there, I mean, does not have a library card, are they able to get a library card without physically going in?
We're trying to address that in the next week or so, where they can get a temporary card electronically.
Right.
So I'll just check the website, and hopefully we'll have some answer a week from tomorrow.
Okay. Again, the website's at www.niagaralibrary.org. Right?
No, it's www.niagara.org.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. That's right.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay.
Niagara.org. We have a phone number up there on the screen as well.
Yeah. The other thing I'd like to mention, traditionally, libraries historically, when there's a national crisis or economic downturns, we do record numbers. The Depression, World War II, economic downturn in the 50s, and after 9/11, our circulation goes off the charts. So hopefully this thing will end pretty soon, and we'll get back to normal. But we'll see what happens.
And Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, I think your numbers have been rising, Mayor. You know yourself, I mean, the Lockport Public Library right here especially has been utilized immensely. I mean, it's always...
Sure.
We have a beautiful
And,
library system here, and it flows seamlessly with all of the other libraries. So if you needed to get something and they don't personally have it, they find the other libraries that have it, and they will get it to you. So they all work together.
We borrow books from University of Buffalo, State Library in Albany, New York Public Library. So we go across the state. So if the book exists, we will get it for you.
Thank you very much. A lot of people are increasing their reading skills during this time. Tom, thank you very much for calling in, and we appreciate the call.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, Tom.
You take care.
You too, Tom.
Peace. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, Tom Benderman from Niagara. But we've learned a lot, though. This whole situation is teaching us a lot, and we're living through a lot of different times. Mayor, one of the things that I was going to ask, too, before we got the phone calls from the library, too, is when we were talking about Chief Abbott, I mean, let's face it, there's a homeless population, too. We talked about the needy, but the homeless population, and you know, they don't have access to computers or this program or the TV and something like that. And is the city reaching out and doing their best to try to let them know what's going on?
We have volunteers
Okay.
that go around, just like during the Code Blues and the heat, when the heat index goes up last year. We did it for the first time, opened up certain City Hall and others to be cooling stations.
Right, yes.
So it is, like I have always said, that it's about all of us together. And it's not just about the ones who can give back or the ones who have a place. So we try. We can't always, just in their transient lifestyle, you can't always pinpoint where they are.
Okay.
But I do worry about them.
Yeah, we worry. Everybody's really...
They don't have access to washing their hands on a regular basis.
Right.
And we don't know where they are all the time.
Right.
So I hope that they can come up with they are resilient.
Yeah.
And they work together as a community themselves. And I hope they're looking out for each other just like they always do.
But if anything, anybody out in Lockport sees anything wrong, you know, 911 call,
Exactly.
right? 911, that's what they're there for. And, you know, I just want to take a moment. I forgot, I think it was, you might have mentioned about the Niagara County, you know, the aged, the home for the aged and so forth. And think about, you know, there's a number of in Lockport. There's a number of I would say elder care facilities. Maybe not necessarily, you know, medical facilities, but you know, your elderwoods of the you know place. But you know, they're shut in. I mean, we're seeing people outside our windows, you know, communicating with them. I mean, keep them in your thoughts and prayers as well through this. I mean, and I think the city's in line for a big parade, even to run by those places when we're all done. And
the people who are shut in,
yes,
the elderly who receive the Meals on Wheels, because of these new protocols, they're not going into the homes.
Right.
They're leaving them on the porch, or for the ones who can't reach the porch, they'll leave it on the outside. But some of them needed somebody to come in and open up that thing, and they needed that social connection.
Yes,
and,
they did.
And so those neighbors, if they could just
keep an eye.
Yes, and give them a call, or wave through the window. So those those agencies and those community members who have volunteered for this can only do so much.
They can. I know that if people are at home and they, are working from home and have time, you maybe give one of your neighbors a call just to check in on them to see how they're doing or so forth. Always keep an eye out, especially for the elderly, and they need that socialization as well. Once again, I have plans. I appreciate you coming in here again and. On a special occasion here. I know that we will get together with the Ask the Mayor show and bring people of the city of Lockport, everything that you talk about during your common council meetings and your work sessions. But I just want to commend you and the city as well for keeping your website up to date with notices every couple of days. You got news stories coming out and keeping links for people to help with this COVID-19 virus.
I forgot to mention some general information.
Okay.
Next week is going to be big bulk item pickup week for our garbage.
Okay.
The city council yesterday discussed, we did have a contract with Modern where in the summer they would do 2 bulk pickups for the bulk pickup week, 2 items.
Right.
Instead of just 1, and that was not going to start until May, but it will start next week.
It will.
So people can put out 2 bulk items, and if they need to put out more than that, it's $10 per bulk item, up to 5 items. So they can contact our city clerk's office, and they can mail you the bulk item or bulk ticket.
Okay.
And you can also do that $2 for bags of garbage that don't fit in your containers. And the electronic waste drop-off is going to be closed until further notice. It's just not possible to do that with social distancing.
It's impossible.
It's impossible right now. So you're just going to have to hold on to those electronic devices that you want to get rid of for a little while. And our yard waste pickup will begin in April 20th to the 24th. And our yard waste for the spring and summer must be in a container on the side, on the right-of-way, not in the street. It's not like in the fall where you can throw your leaves in the street. You must have it in a container of some kind. And if you have twigs and stuff and tree limbs, obviously that's not in containers. And if you could put the ends towards the street and try not to block the sidewalks, we would greatly appreciate that. And our workers are working hard to make sure that our city still functions.
Great. Absolutely. You need to do all that. And it's funny because you said that. I know I watched on LCTV, mind you. I watched the live common council meeting last night and the work session, and I know Joe Oates, and Mark and Rick are on the committee that
Community Pride on Saturdays. Community
Pride that meets with everybody to help clean up the city and different cleaning projects, so to speak. And I know that Joe was the one to bring that up about that maybe second item or whatever. And then it was funny because we're doing research for the show today. I looked and I saw the mayor of North Tonawanda said no pickups are going to be done. So you see a need in one place, and I guess
as long as we can do it with social distancing and following the proper personal protective equipment for the workers, we're as of now we're seeing that we can do it in those ways.
Yeah, get that out there. Don't go out and hand it to them. Right? Get it out ahead of time, have it there, and it'll be picked up.
And we make sure that our workers follow the personal protective equipment protocols.
Yeah, that's a couple of things I had. Maybe you can answer the questions we were talking. Has there been any change in procedures, so to speak, and at City Hall, and maybe you can even comment maybe on the fire and the police department a little bit. Any changes in other than the obvious changes that occur with social distancing? Has there been any other changes? Is there any anticipated? I hate to say layoffs or whatever, but as a city, a lot of businesses have had to lay off their people. Has it happened in the city, or are we keeping everybody going right now?
Right now, everybody's going. Either working remotely or we've switched shifts, like I said in my first statement, working out a way to provide the services with the essential. Almost everybody is essential. Like I find
I know you've mentioned that. Yeah.
Because if they weren't essential, we wouldn't waste the taxpayers' dollars with them, to be honest. So every worker is essential, and we're working out ways that we can do this that provides safety and keeps everybody as healthy as possible for as long as possible.
I'm going to ask you first two-part question here. First of the calls, what have you been? What kind of calls have you been receiving? I know you mentioned that you're still going to have your open hours for calls in on Saturday, I believe, or whatever. But what kind of calls are you seeing? And has there been an increase or maybe a decrease in police activity in the city of Lockport?
I believe that when we put out the request that if people feel like they could handle something and it's not a true emergency and to not make those calls, I believe that those have reduced. People are taking that seriously. There's also less people out. There's less people out publicly engaging with each other, so there are less confrontations as well, and there's less automobiles on the streets, so that should mean less accidents. We still have accidents, you know, they're going to happen, but when you have less people out and you have less people on the streets, it should equate to less situations that they're interacting in a negative way that would require services.
And I know, well, I'll talk about, well, and I know that the tire manufacturers, I guess they don't open up till like April 15th or whatever. I mean, now a lot of the times I see the patching going on around the city a little bit too as well. That's only like a two-man operation when they do that. That's still continuing through the city, right?
Yeah, as long as they can follow the, like I said, the social distancing and they wipe down every vehicle that they're in. They wipe it down before they enter and they wipe it down when they're done. And then the next person comes in and wipes it down and then wipes it down when they're done. I've been very clear to everybody that
I was going to ask you, this sounds like a directive coming from you.
They need to be in charge of their own health and safety. And they can't depend on, well, somebody else should have done that. And just assume that they need to do it every time. And some of them have been lax in their personal protective equipment because they're so used to the job that they're doing. And sometimes I know that as a worker, the gloves and the whatever, they feel like it's a hindrance and not a help, but they've all stepped up and are really more self-aware. I think we can take away some positives of this situation, and those are some of those things.
Right. I think, you know, one of the things is hygiene. Hygiene is going to be huge. I mean, I think people that are all of a sudden told to stay at home to have an active lifestyle, you know, they might not be, you know, jumping in the shower every morning or every other morning or whatever their doctor says is good or whatever. They might be going 3 or 4 days and then laying back and be at least. Yeah, I saw a pretty neat cartoon referring to a guy, somebody laying on their lounge chair last year saying lazy, you know, and this year saying social distancing or whatever, or a very good citizen.
Physical distancing with social connections, finding ways to socially connect with one another while physically distancing from each other.
Has there, in the city of Lockport, has there been any reports that have come to you that maybe of violations of the social distancing, and are you prepared to handle those if you need be?
Yes, that's why we took down the basketball nets when those were reported. We had some reports of some people not following them at the parks, on the playgrounds, so the police have gone around and just reminded people that they are to be following the social distancing protocols. Our code enforcement department is prepared. I talked to Jason Dool, our chief building inspector, yesterday about the new rules, about some of the essential, non-essential, and the different things that go on at the building level.
Yeah.
So
What's important? What's not right at this point in time?
yeah, and if people are following the social distancing protocol. So if you are allowed to be operating, you are probably being operating under the very specific protocols that the state has told you you can operate from.
Correct.
And which is why we do temperature checks of everybody who enters the building. And I believe most businesses that they're supposed to be following something very similar. And the cleaning protocols, like our guys wiping down the trucks as they enter and exit, those kinds of things are supposed to be happening at all the workplaces.
In your statement, you did mention about the directive about contractors. You know, if you're a single contractor, maybe you could apply for a permit. Now, these new were there any construction projects in the city of Lockport that you had to suspend or had to stop?
I know that there were construction projects happening.
Okay.
I know some of them may have been considered essential.
Okay.
But they had to change how they did it. So like you don't want the electrician in the same area as the plumber, those kinds of things. So they would have to determine that. I would have to find out before I said anything about that. I haven't gotten that number.
Okay. I just want to thank you very much for this. We're here for this coronavirus update, and one of the things, Mayor, I just got a couple questions before. We're going to try to stay here on here till right down at 8:30. So we got another 7 minutes or so. One of the things I was going to ask you, not about the pandemic right now, but one of the things that I'll be talking a little bit more in detail with you on in a couple of weeks, maybe, will be something I see that one of the things I saw on the show last night. At a show. It's a show.
It feels like a show, right?
It feels like last night felt like a show because it was over an hour long, the work session. But anyways, I see that a little tear came your eye with Dave Haylett. I guess Corporation Council is leaving for maybe brighter horizons, and congratulations to Dave. You want to tell us a little bit about that? And then you had a special announcement even after that. So some bad news, good news about the new Corporation Council.
Yeah. I was fortunate that Dave Haylett was willing to stay on from the previous administration, and he was a great asset to us as a city. He's a resident and a genuinely nice, honest young man who did due diligence. Whenever I asked him a question, if he didn't know it, he would look it up and find the answer, and wanted to make sure that what we did was the right thing to do. And I greatly appreciate him and his service to our community over the years.
Absolutely.
And I'll miss him. But I do wish him well. I know that this opportunity for him allows him to be able to cut back on all of the things he was doing. He was Corporation Counsel for us in Somerset, and he, defense.
Right.
He was a lot of things, a lot of hats all throughout the entire county.
With a younger family.
They just had their first baby this past year,
Okay.
and so he needs to be able to be a dad.
Sure.
So that's good for him. And then we were seeing who we could get to replace him, and I had asked Laura if she would be interested in taking over as the lead Corporation Counsel. And after she thought about it and spoke with her family and everything, she said yes. She'll cut back on some of the things. She's very busy as well.
She sure is.
And she'll cut back on some things to take on this role for us. And I'm excited that she's our first female lead Corporation Counsel in Lockport's history.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Really, you think about it, that's really, really
2020.
amazing. Yeah,
100 years
right.
from the suffrage movement.
honest, you think about that, that's awesome. And she's got a built-in mentor, too, to be able to go to talk about,
dad.
right?
And he was Corporation Counsel on and off for 30, 40 years, so he has a lot of history.
Right, which probably made the decision for Lauren a little easier, I would imagine.
And so to fill in for the third spot, the second deputy counsel, we are having Pat McGrath. So we're going to have two females Corporation Counsel, and Jason Caffarella will continue. He does a great job. and he is a valuable asset to the whole community. He's another, I feel all of them are very honest and do their due diligence to make sure we're following the law and what's right.
And I'll tell you right now, next time we get together, I'll ask you a little bit more about that and what the processes of going and picking corporation counsel, because I know it's very, very important, especially to the mayor. You know, we only have a few minutes. One of the things also too,
They're not my corporation counsel. The mayor appoints them, and the mayor needs to have a relationship and a trust with them.
Absolutely.
But they are corporation counsel of the city.
Yeah.
And I always tell them that.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
Your obligation is to the city as a whole, and you're not my personal attorneys.
Right. Or absolutely. You know, but in other words, if you think I'm doing something wrong, let me know.
I
Right?
come right out and say that.
I would guess.
If I ever ask for something that sounds immoral or illegal, you say that's immoral
Which
or illegal.
won't happen. We
No,
know that.
I would never do that.
And quickly though, I think it's important. The water bill late fees were waived, and a payment was extended to everybody, every business, every resident of the city. An extension to pay their bill without a late fee was granted for 3 months. It looks like for 3 months for everybody.
So in the city of Lockport, our billing is on quarterly cycles. So part of the people we paid a bill on March 30th. Another will pay their bill at the end of April.
Right.
Another will pay the bill at the end of May. And then we're back on June as the people that paid in March.
Okay.
So every 3 months, that's a quarter of the year. And so over the 3 months, if you are having trouble paying it, obviously if you can pay it, we would greatly appreciate it.
Because
Then
you
you
have
don't
to pay
have
it
to worry
eventually.
about it. You don't have to worry about doubling a payment
Right.
at the end of that 3 months. But if you're struggling with it and you have a choice between food and your water bill, pick the food for now and try and save up to pay that water bill. And after the next 90 days, before you get your next bill, if you have not paid it, you're going to incur those late fees.
Right.
But
So
if
it's
you-
giving you some time.
Yeah.
And I think what I saw with your council, Rick Abbott stood up there too as well as trying. They maybe need a break right now rather than pay a bill, and I'd be able to pay it maybe a couple months down the line.
So the
if
county
you
also,
need it.
our county taxes in the city of Lockport were due on April 1st.
Yep.
And the county allowed us 30 days also, waiving that fee.
Which I think they're thinking about maybe even extending it because of
Every
the-
30, they've said that in 30, before the 30 days is up, they'll look at it. And the federal government said no taxes from 90 days for state and federal taxes as well.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mayor, for
Thank
coming
you.
in on this Corona update. We hope you did it with the credits roll. We would just want to remind you, this is a little old and it's been updated, but this was the 15 days to slow the spread that you see.
Now we have 30 days.
Prince, now we got 30 more days added onto this, but wash your hands, please. Practice social distancing, and thank you, Mayor. Stay safe, and we'll look forward to seeing you again in the near future.
Thank you. Stay healthy.
You too. Stay healthy. Bye, everyone. Thank you.